Hey everyone, it is Big Burr himself, Fried Chicken. IAE 2954 is right around the corner, and for some, this event can be overwhelming, or you just don't have the time in the day just to be able to check out every manufacturer as it's being introduced throughout the event. And I ain't gonna lie, there is a lot of ships and vehicles that you're gonna want to check out that you don't want to miss out on. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you some ships that I recommend that you check out and rent at the rental kiosks in the game. So the way how I'm going to do this is I'm going to go based off of the day of the event. So on the first day, on the 22nd, it is Crusader. That's what I'm going to start with, and then work my way down throughout the other days of the week. Now, making this video was a little difficult because I was being indecisive on some ships. Because honestly, I would say every single ship is worth checking out because they're all beautiful and amazing, but not everyone has the time. So let's jump right into it with Crusader Industries. To kick off this video, let's start off by looking at the Hercules A2. This is a bomber. It drops Moabs, the biggest bombs in the game. It puts in the work when you need it to. Excellent ship. Then we have the Mercury Star Runner, another excellent ship that is more doors than ship, if you catch my drift. And it's pretty cool, even though its gameplay role is not implemented into the game yet, which is data running, so we have to wait for that to happen. Next up is going to be the Spirit series, and particularly the A1 and the C1. Both of these birds are excellent. I fly the A1 regularly. It's pretty much the A2's little brother. It's a bomber and it does the job. And then the C1 is a cargo ship. In my opinion, one of the best cargo ships in the game, just because it's very streamlined and easy to use if you want a good introduction ship to get into cargo gameplay. Now let's continue on to Tumbil. So with Tumbil, it's really, with these vehicles, it deals with more of taste than anything else because they have so many of the same vehicle but with different attachments to the vehicle. Starting off with the AA, this is the anti-aircraft variant, which pretty much is just, guns that shoot down aircraft that are out there. And then right after that, we have the base Cyclone, which is, in my opinion, the best of the three, because you can go out there and bunker bust with this one. It holds one SCU of cargo in the back, so you can roll up onto a hostile bunker without the AA guns attacking you, and you can pull out your little cargo box and go right on in and cause some havoc down below. Moving on is going to be the RC. Now this is one of my favorites right here because it's quick and it's fast and it can easily glide over those big rocks with no issue. Let's now move on to the Storm AA. I prefer the AA versus the base Storm just because it's a lot more fun to use. You can go sit at Jump Town and just wait for people to fly in, and you can fire a crap ton of missiles at them. I think it's 8 at a time, which is enough firepower. Then we have the Nova Tank. If you've played in Arena Commander, the tank battling game simulator, that's a lot of fun, and I greatly enjoy using this vehicle, even though it's a little bouncy and a little floaty right now with its collision detection with the ground, so it's a little hit or miss. But those are my options that you should look at when it comes to the very first day of IAE 2954. Alright, let's bounce right over to Aegis on the 23rd of November, and let's see what it has to offer. Aegis is one of my top manufacturers, so I'm going to recommend a lot of their vessels. This is a day you do not want to miss. Aegis is primarily a military company, and they now offer some salvaging gameplay, and I'm very curious what they may deviate from in the future. Let's jump right into them. Starting off with the Vanguard Warden. In my opinion, this is my favorite Vanguard out of the rest of them versus the Hoplite and the Sentinel. This one, it flies a lot better and it packs a punch versus some of the other ones. Now let's move right along to the Saber, the base Saber. This ship recently got a pretty good buff recently, and it is now one of my top tier fighters. It is considered a stealth fighter, but this thing, wow, does it pack a punch. Definitely kicks butt. Moving right along into one of the best starters in the game, probably is the best starters in the game for its class, is going to be the Avenger Titan. Now this little bird packs a punch. For its size, it has a lot of firepower. It can smoke a lot of vehicles out there in the verse. So I highly recommend you guys pick up a Titan if you can, just because it's a great ship and it doesn't cost that much. Now let's move on to the Eclipse. This is probably my most favorable Aegis ship that's out there. I fly this regularly when I want to do bounty hunter missions. It just packs a huge punch, and it is also aesthetically really cool looking on the exterior and the interior. The cockpit is amazing looking. But now let's move on to a fan favorite, the Aegis Gladys. Now, the very first time I flew this bird was back all the way in 2016. It was fun then, and it is most definitely fun now. It holds its own as a combat vessel, and it's not that badly priced. I recommend you definitely rent it out and see how you like it. It's really a cool ship. Moving right along to the Redeemer, this big fish is definitely something else. It's a gunboat, but you need to have a multi-crew personnel to run it. It's actually pretty cool. It flies kind of funky and looks kind of funky, but it has its own uniqueness too. Next up is going to be the Aegis Retaliator. Now, there's two different variants of this bird, and there is the just the base, and then there is the bomber. In my opinion, the base is the cooler model just because the modularity it has with its systems is really cool. You can throw in a cargo unit, or you can throw in a habitational or a recreational unit just to make this thing a little different from being just a plain old military vessel to a home in space. Last but not least for Aegis is going to be the Aegis Hammerhead. I've flown this with the full crew. Either I've flown it or I was part of a crew that was already flying it and stuff like that, just having a good old time, and it was fun. This is a fun bird. You know, lots of guns. This is supposed to be an escort vessel for some of the Corvette carriers to capital ships out there. It packs a punch, and it's fun to fly. It's quite roomy, and it's well designed. And I can already hear y'all in the back who's screaming at me, yo, how come we didn't talk about the Reclaimer? Well, to me, it's not an exciting ship. It's big, it's burly, and it flies slow, and it requires a multi-crew to fully utilize it when there's other better ships out there to have fun with, like the Vulture. Let's move on to the next day. Alright, let's jump into MISC and Marai. Technically the same company, just one is built for racing. Jumping right into it, we have the Razor. I like the Razor. It's a really cool racing ship, but you know, it is cool. Then we have the Base Fury. I recommend you definitely rent this little bird out and try it out. It is a serious bird. Sadly, no quantum travel, but it is a great backup ship. Then we have the sports bike of MISC and Marai. We have the Pulse. Easily recommend you to try flying this little ground vehicle, a little hover bike, because it's quick, fast, and furious. Moving on to a ship that I always forget is actually MISC, and that's going to be the Reliant series. In my opinion, I like the Reliant Tana over the other ones versus the Mako or the Core. It's a very unique ship. I just really wish that they would fix the whole entire bed locking debacle. When you bed lock with this bird, the ship, it changes position because it's kind of not asymmetrical, but the whole entire body rotates. But this is definitely my favorite out of all of them. And then when it comes to the Freelancers, I like the Max. I don't like the base or the other versions that much. It just doesn't do it for me. But the Max is a cool ship. It flies almost the same as just the base, but it has more cargo space and room in the back to offer for you to use it and utilize it with whatever you want to do. And let us continue and move along to the Starlancer. I do not know if the TAC version is going to be in the game during IAE or it's going to go on concept. So who knows what's going to happen with that, but the Starlancer Max is a lot of fun. I have been flying it a lot recently and enjoying it. It is a really cool ship, and I highly recommend you take a look at it, rent it out, take it in the skies, and fly it. After that, one of the biggest ships in the game, we have the Hull C. I highly recommend that you rent this big old vessel out and try it out. It has one of the coolest extending features in the game. It's also very beautiful on the inside. You go to the engine room and you'll be amazed at how detailed it is. It is definitely a unique vessel. Let's continue on to the very next day, which is going to be all of the alien manufacturers. We have Gattac, we have Pano, Aroba, and we also have Asperia. I'm gonna just be clear and simple with you guys. Check them all out. They are all awesome. All the alien ships are cool, and you just should really check them out. If you want to know my personal favorite, that is definitely going to be Asperia. I love the Prowler, one of my top ships. Absolutely love it. Then we have the KLEVV, another amazing ship. These are very expensive ships though, so I recommend you rent them and have fun with them and just fly and play with them. Again, like I said, the Prowler's my top. Yeah. Let's continue on to the next day. which is RSI Day. RSI is a really cool manufacturer, and I highly recommend you check out all of their ships and their ground vehicles. Starting off with the Zeus Mk2 ES. I definitely recommend you check out this bird as an exploration ship, but I will definitely tell you, buy the medevac. Buy it, buy it, buy it. This is a very serious and essential vehicle in the game. Don't pass on it. For fighters, we have the Scorpius. The Scorpius is a really cool ship. I recommend you test fly it. It's different. There's also another model, if you want to test that one out, that has an EMP and a co-pilot seat where the co-pilot can control the guns on the back. It's a cool bird, X-Wing style, Star Wars style, but it doesn't fit everyone's niche, so I definitely recommend you rent it out before you do anything else. Moving along to the Constellation series, it's really a hit or miss on depending which one you want to pick. There's 4 different models. We have the Taurus, the Phoenix, the Aquila, and the Andromeda. Each one has their own different roles, and they're all powerful ships that all share the same frame, just one is catered towards a different style of gameplay. So I say check them all out. In my opinion, the Andromeda is the best one, but yeah. Now this is a ship that I hope is actually at IAE. I think it's just gonna go up on concept again, but I really want to see the Apollo. There's no guarantee that this is going to be in the game, but you know, again, I'm just dreaming right here with this one. And I hear all of y'all screaming in the back, what about the Polaris? Everyone's going to rent that ship, so there's no reason to even bring it up. But moving on, we have Argo, we have Consolidator Outland, we also have Kruger, and we have Grey Cat. So the only ones that I can really recommend on this day is Argo and Crusader Outlander. You know, you can check out the Raft and the Mole through Argo, and the Nomad. Everything else is kind of just, you know, easy enough where you can buy in game for very cheap, so you don't really have to rent them out just because they're so easily accessible in game without having to do much. But again, I do recommend the Raft. The Raft is a really cool vessel. It, in my opinion, really good design, looks cool, very homey, and it's a small cargo ship that does the job that it needs to do. And then the Mole, it's a group mining vessel that gets the work done. If you're packing a full team, you guys can really pack out some good mining out there in the verse and just really knock it out. And then when it comes to Consolidated Outlander, there is the Nomad. They also have a hover bike, and what else do they have? They have the Mustangs, I believe. The Mustangs aren't anything real special in my opinion. They're just basic starter ships to, you know, the bottom of the barrel. So you know, if you want to check them out, you can, if you're able to make it there that day. But let's continue on to the next day, and that is going to be Drake Interplanetary. Oh, Big Daddy himself has entered the building. Drake, whew, one of my top manufacturers right here. They have everything you can think of. One of the most versatile manufacturers that has it all. If you want to do combat, get a Buccaneer. If you want to do salvage, get yourself a Vulture. If you want to do data running gameplay, whenever that comes to the game, hop on down and get yourself a Herald. Moving along, we have the Cutter, one of the best ships in the game for a starter ship. It almost won Ship of the Year last year. I cannot believe it didn't, but it is an excellent ship. Comes in 3 different flavors, just so you have variety. Now let's continue to the Cutlass series. The Cutlass Red, if you're someone who goes out into the verse and you're afraid of dying, guess what? You got medical beds you can respawn in with the Cutlass Red. I highly recommend all of the Cutlasses minus the Cutlass Steel. I feel like the Cutlass Steel is just not what it should be. But then we have the Black, the best of the best. You ask anyone in the verse, what's a good starter ship? And they're always going to say the exact same ship, the Cutlass Black. So if you're new and getting into the game and don't got anything, buy it, buy it, buy it, or rent it if you want to try it, because it is amazing. Continuing on to the Corsair. This is a serious bird. This bird is quite different versus any other vessel in the game because of the way how its wings fold and unfold, and it packs, well, I guess used to pack a lot of firepower for a pilot. It was a serious gunboat. The pilot had access to 5 cannons. Now it's reduced down to 4, so it is more on par to a Constellation. Another ship I recommend you should take a look at and rent is the Caterpillar. This is a dedicated cargo ship that is supposedly supposed to have modularity in the future. Just be wary, this ship is half baked, it is not fully complete. There's a lot of systems that's not working with it, like the door's not opening all the way, and the detachable cockpit area, the unit, that's all supposed to be functioning. CIG stated that those parts will come online once the Ironclad comes out, whenever that drops. And finally, we are at the Ironclad. I know it's not going to be at this IAE, but I guarantee it's going to be out next year. Not a guarantee. I dream, I hope, I wish. Well, let's continue on to the very next day. Moving right along to Origin, this is another manufacturer that I absolutely love, but I only like a few vehicles from this manufacturer, but they do have a lot to offer. So these are the ones that I recommend you check out and rent out while you still can. And so the first bird is going to be the M50. This is like a Ferrari of ships just because it's quick and fast. Then we have the 100i. I'm probably sure they're going to have this maybe in a starter pack. They've had it before in the starter pack, but it's a really cool ship, very basic and bare bones, nothing really special about it. There's 3 different models, from the base to a fighter to cargo, but nothing too crazy. But then we have the 300 series. In my opinion, I say avoid the 300i entirely and go straight towards the 325. That one's a better vert, just because it has nicer interior, better guns, and just, a little bit of better everything. Now, coming on to one of the most favorable ships in my entire fleet, the 400i. Now, this bird gets a lot of flack for no reason. People usually don't like it just because it doesn't pack a lot of firepower and it's considered pretty useless in the game because it's supposedly an exploration ship. But I enjoy flying it just to fly it, and it looks awesome as well. I utilize its front area for hover bikes like the X1 or the Pulse, and it gets the job done very well for me, and I cannot tell you enough that I really do enjoy driving it. If my boy Umbra was inside of here, he'd tell you for sure that I'm always flying it. Next up is the 600i. I named it Mesmer's Flame. I love this ship, but currently it's a little broken. The interior does not seem to want to work properly, and it's just a little goofy, needs a band-aid. So, it is what it is. It's a cool ship. There's 2 different variants and just go out there and have fun with it. And then we have a ground vehicle that I bought years ago that I still am waiting for to drop to the game, and that is the G series. The G12 is a cool looking ground vehicle. They have the racing, AA, and then just the base model, which is more of a cargo model. Waiting for these for years now. I cannot wait for them to drop just because they look really cool. Yeah, that's realistically it. But now let's continue on to the final manufacturer of IAE, and that is going to be Anvil Aerospace. Now, I recommend all their ships. I really do. Anvil is one of my favorite manufacturers as well. I own several of their ships, majority of their line, and I cannot recommend enough Anvil just because their ships are cool. Heavy military inspired with some exploration mixed in, with some medical mixed in, and the reason why they're the last day is because they have so much to offer. Plus, there may be a ghost drop for a ship called the Paladin coming out this IAE as well, or just a concept. I really cannot wait to see what Anvil has to offer this year during IAE, and yeah, I just cannot tell you again enough that I recommend everything. They have it from medical ships to fighters to bounty hunter to prisoner transport ships to medical running ships like the Pisces Rescue, and what is going to be dropping this year, I guarantee it's going to have LTI. It's going to be the, people call it the MediPen, but it is the Terrapin medical unit that has a tier 3 medical bed. There's also a couple big ships too. They have the Carrack, which is catered towards exploration. Then there's the Carrack CXB version, which is like a different, more shinier version of the Carrack. Then there's the Pisces series. Then, of course, there's the FAC Lightning, which is a part of the Victory ships that won Ship of the Year this year. Arrow, which is a really nice, quick little fighter, glass cannon, if you will, that can do insane amounts of damage. If you're a good pilot, the Arrow is amazing. Then we have the Hornet Mark II series. I do not know if the Mark I series is going to be in the game since they took the Mark I series off the storefront. So just keep that in mind. They announced that a while back that they're going to be removing it during Invictus. I highly recommend that you guys check out the new Hornet Mark II, the civilian unit, and the military version. You can kit out the civilian unit to look and be just as powerful as the military version if you wanted. And then they're going to be dropping the new Ghost and the Tracker this year, which is going to be really cool. So I recommend you check out those as well. And then one of my favorite ones is the Hawk. I absolutely love this ship. It's a little different. Really powerful ship as long as you're able to keep the wings attached. If they fly off, you're literally a sitting duck. But it's a great ship with the EMP blaster that's made for bounty hunter and prisoner transport. Once that becomes available in the game, people are going to be flying it more. Then we have the Hurricane, one of the strongest fighters in the game. This thing is a game changer. You have to run 2-man crew with this bird. And if your co-pilot can really hit their shots, this thing destroys. 4 Rhinos in the back. Insane. And then we have the basic Terrapin and the Medipin, which is dropping. Again, it's going to be a cool medical ship just because they can do that. And that's going to be Anvil Aerospace. I cannot wait to see, and I am crossing my fingers if they happen to have that little ghost drop. That'd be really cool. We get to see the Paladin, which is supposed to be a contender to the Polaris, if you will. And yeah, and then we also have one of my personal favorites, the drop ship, the Valkyrie. This ship just got a boost recently. They amped up the turrets on the side. Was size 3, now size 4 Rhinos, packing a big punch. Better shields, more health. It's just an overall good ship. Kinda wish it had a civilian model with modularity, but I doubt that's ever gonna happen. But who knows? You never know. And that is pretty much this year's IAE. The next day is more catered towards armor, FPS combat, and things like that. So there's going to be like a little kiosk down below, usually on the bottom floor, the basement area, where you can pick up all the weapons. You can rent them all, try all the new armors and stuff on. Only reason why I say that this could be a waste of time is because 4.0 is on the horizon. And as we all know, CIG has put it out there. 4.0 is a full wipe, so nothing is carrying over except for stuff that you actually own in your own personal hangar on the RSI website. So keep that in mind or you will be stuck. And boom, that is pretty much it. These are my recommendations for the entirety of IAE. I apologize for the long video. There is a lot of vehicles to go through and look at. And again, I know not everyone's gonna have the time of day to be able to go check out all of these ships. If you're not able to make it to the expo, then you are not out of luck. All you gotta do is go to Zenith Hall, and there should be a rental kiosk that will have every ship available to rent after the day it has been showcased in the halls. So if you missed a day, don't worry about it. Just go to the kiosk and pick out the ship that you wanna go look at, and just rent it from there and you're good to go. So I'm probably sure when 3.24.3 drops, there's going to be a slight small reset where we're able to pick our new home spawn again. If you pick New Babbage, then you'll be able to go from there and pick up your ships at the expo and just be able to fly away in the hangars and just enjoy yourself. Usually during this time of year, there is a lot of jank, so please be patient with the game. It's going to be very buggy, it's going to be a free fly, and there's going to be a lot of mayhem and mishaps and things. Currently, CIG is working on a candidate for a release to drop into the live build, but we never know how good it is. Hopefully, it's not going to be as bad as when CitizenCon was going on, when they kind of rushed out that update, but we just won't know. And so we just have to wait, and we will. Only a few days left until IAE starts this Friday. Hopefully you guys will be there. Hope I will see you guys there. It is your Big Bird himself, Fried Chicken, out.